Hey guys, John here, Detroit Performance RC, and I've been wanting to do this video for a while. Basically, it's going to be like a quick start tutorial, but I also want to kind of cover like what do you need to upgrade your car to accept one of those Taylor big bore engines. I get that question a lot, like, you know, what parts do I need, what upgrades do I need, you know, how do you need to prepare my car. So hopefully we'll get some of those answers. All right, so here it is. I keep having to redo this video because I keep forgetting stuff. But the most important thing, you know, people always ask me, this is one of the number one questions I get is, okay, what do I need to upgrade my car to accept these Taylor big bore engines? Well, a lot of people think they've got to upgrade everything. It's really not true. This is a 40 GT. It's more on the mild side of one of Taylor's engines. So nice thing about this particular motor, you know, you go 40, 46, 50 GT. That GT series, they make a lot of torque, but they're not so powerful that they destroy the driveline constantly. You know, I've seen guys put 71, 65, 71, 80s in them, and they're a lot of fun, but that's a whole different conversation in terms of what you need to upgrade. But for this size motor, Custer sent me his car. He said, just put the upgrades on it and the motor, and we'll be good to go. So I want to take a second and talk about what I do when I get a car like this. So the car was completely bone stock. First thing I do is I take apart the center diff carrier. I use the Taylor 2.0 aluminum center diff carrier. If you've got the Losi 1.0, I would recommend the modified RC one. The 2.0, this Taylor one's really nice because it's a quick release. You can take this top off, this half, and you can actually pull the diff from the top. So it means that you don't have to disconnect the whole thing from the bottom. The other thing you'll notice that we did, I don't know if you can see that, but we put an aluminum diff cup in. I put 1 million weight oil in an aluminum diff cup. That's normally plastic. And the reason we do that is because of the heat. You know, when you get these engines and they're, you know, this much horsepower, those gears, they heat up and that plastic gets soft and it starts to move and it gets deformed. So then everything stops being in alignment and you used to get a sloppier gear mesh. So whenever that happens, you run the risk of, you know, breaking the gears, stripping the gears. I've seen the gears come right through the sides of these housings. I mean, I've seen a lot of crazy stuff. So I often will use a locker. This particular time I opted to use a diff, but if I was going to use a locker in the center, I would put these two aluminum cups in the front and the rear. Now, because I used a diff in the center, I left the front and the rear diff cups stock. I think they'll be okay with the size engine. I've run up to 50 cc with the stock ones and not had too much trouble. And obviously, it's how much you run your car. I mean, if you're going to run it every day and put gallons and gallons of fuel in, you might want to take the second, put the aluminum diff cups in the front and the center also. The other thing that you'll notice that we did was we upgraded the gears. These are Blackbone gears. His engines come with a Blackbone gear. It is compatible with the stock spur gear, but does give you the option to put whatever size gear in you want for the center. Now, on a Losi 2.0, you need to have about 82 teeth total. So like a 3250 or, you know, 3052 or something along those lines. This is, I think, 2854. So basically that gives you enough room to set the engine, and what we do is we put these Fonzie aluminum adjustable gear space mesh things, and those Fonzie adjustable engine spacers are great because I basically put the engine where I want it and just tighten them down, and then I don't have to worry about it. And if I ever go to change the gearing, I don't have so much to do. The other thing that we did was we upgraded the chassis braces. You got your top brace, your center brace, your front and rear aluminum, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to eliminate the chassis flex. A little bit of flex is okay. Too much, what you run the risk of spinning these gears out and breaking stuff. That's when you get stress on your pins, your arms. You know, if that chassis flexes, you could bend your shafts. So it's just a good idea to put some heavier duty aluminum In this particular case, I did upgrade the steering servo just simply because the stock Losi servos suck. This 78 kilogram is made by AGF-RC. It's a fantastic servo. It's one of my favorites. It's brushless, it's waterproof. We have a 100 kilogram one, which is stronger, but I like the 78 just because it's so fast. It's quiet, it doesn't hum, buzz, glitch. Just been a great servo. So if you got the budget for it, that's a good choice upgrade. Is it necessary for putting this engine in? No, but the customer wanted, a little upgrade, so that's what we did. The other thing you'll see that we did was I put in a high flow fuel line kit. This is ours. We make these here. This is a high flow fuel line kit. These larger carbs, WJ carbs, don't have a return line. That's why there's nothing here. So what I did was I just plugged it. The other thing I did, because this is a stock Losi, has these little nipples. I don't know if you can see those. They come off the gas tank. Most people don't know what those are for, but basically it's when you disconnect your fuel from your engine, you stick them in there so they don't leak all over. Keeps your fuel contained with your fuel tank. So what I do is I drill that out, and it allows you to just put this little fuel filter in. It's kind of a nice little setup. I've seen guys do it with this center. If you have a return line, you don't have this. This is, on the clones, 30N, Rovin, King Motors, they don't have this little thing here. Then I would just use this secondary hole here and run the breather out of here. So the other thing you'll notice, the car is going to sag a little bit because of the extra weight of this engine. I cranked down the preloads on these. Ideally, you'd want to upgrade your springs. I'd rather see this preload set in the middle with a stiffer spring. You want about 20% settle. This is a little bit more than that. In a perfect world, when I set the car down, it would drop just a little bit like that and settle in. That's a good, that's how you know you got your spring rate good. I think that's generally about it. So as you can see, it's not, it's not overkill to upgrade these, to get these cars prepared for one of these big engines. It doesn't take a tremendous amount of extra money. As long as you stick to the key upgrades, you want your driveline right. I didn't upgrade the cups. You'd be surprised how strong these stock cups and shafts are. Up to 50cc, I generally don't upgrade them. It's not terribly expensive if you want to. We sell the Fast Lane cup kit for like 80 bucks, so you can do all your cups. I'm just not sure it needs it. I've run plenty of cars, 40, 46, 50cc, and not had to do that. And I've had pretty good luck. I mean, they will wear. You'll start to see your pins get flat spots, and you start to wear out the cups. But that's, it's a wear item. So it's something that, after you use it for a while, if you want to upgrade it the second time around, probably a good idea. Other than that, we're going to get to, we'll get to the first start video, and we'll go over some other stuff.